All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Evvie. Hi. Okay, so I'm sure you guys all heard about that report that came out that says that the ACA is the worst thing ever, and it's the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, is the worst thing ever. It's laying off 2 million workers because of it. It sucks, right? That's what the CBO Report said, right? I mean, that's what Republicans say it said. Fox News said, one of the co-hosts said, a bombshell new CBO report found that Obamacare will be much worse for the economy than predicted. Lou Dobbs, the host of Fox Business, said, it's another round of devastating numbers for all Americans. And Paul Ryan said, it has made things worse for our economy and worse for working families. And finally, Ted Cruz, the comedic genius of Ted Cruz, tweeted, question, what would you call taking away jobs from nearly the entire population of Nevada? Answer, what Obamacare does for the workforce. Okay, so is that what the CBO report said? No. No, okay. And we're here to talk about why. So, and I can tell you that this is not what the CBO report said, and that it's not my liberal agenda. It's what the CBO says the report said. In fact, at the, there was a House committee meeting where they brought in the head of the CBO, Doug Elmendorf, and Paul Ryan said to him, just to understand, it's not that employers are laying people off? To which Elmendorf replied, that's correct. No, the ACA did not lead to the layoff of 2 million people. What the CBO report did say is that the Affordable Care Act will reduce the number of hours worked by the equivalent of 2.5 million Americans by 2025. Now, that's not because employers are laying people off. It's not that the supply, that the demand for workers has gone down. It's that the supply of labor will decrease because people can get out of what is called job lock. Now, job lock is when you're forced to stay in a job for extenuating circumstances. In this case, lack of health insurance if you leave. So this could be someone working 1 or 2 minimum wage jobs or extending their hours past what they would want, because if they reduce them or if they leave one of the jobs, they'll lose health care coverage. It can mean parents having to go back to work much sooner than they would want to, because if they don't go back to work, they'll lose their health care. It could mean an elderly worker having to work longer than they would want to, and maybe you don't want to be standing on your feet working a 40 or 50-hour work week when you're 60, but they can't leave, because if they leave, they'll lose their health insurance. So the Affordable Care Act is giving these workers the freedom to leave jobs that they no longer want to be in, or to reduce their hours because they're no longer dependent on the job for health care coverage. Now, this is not just a liberal idea that this is a good thing to allow people more flexibility in their job. It's actually been championed by Republicans for years. In 2009, Paul Ryan said, the key question that ought to be answered in any health care reform legislation is, are we going to continue job lock, or are we going to allow individuals more choice and portability to fit the 21st century workforce? The Heritage Foundation in 2008, which is a conservative think tank, was praising the health care plan proposed by John McCain and said, individuals who wish to take a better job, change careers, or leave the workforce to raise a family, or to retire early to take substantial risks. This health insurance obstacle to labor motility is called job lock. And healthcare advisor to Mitt Romney said essentially the same thing. So yes, people of both parties have said that reducing job lock is a good thing. That's what the Affordable Care Act is doing. It is not causing the direct layoff of workers. Now, that's what the report didn't say. It didn't say it's laying people off. But what else was in this report that no one was hearing about because it was being covered up by these sensationalist headlines? First of all, part-time employment has not increased. A lot of people have said that, oh, if people are required to give health insurance to their full-time employees, they'll just cut full-time employees and have more part-time employment. That has not happened. The CBO also found that the estimated cost of the law was $9 billion less than they had originally anticipated it would be. They still anticipate that over 10 years, the ACA will reduce the deficit and will continue to do so after those 10 years. Rates of health insurance on the exchange markets were 15% cheaper in 2014 than the CBO had initially anticipated. The number of non-elderly people on health insurance increased by 13 million in 2014, will increase by 20 million in 2015, and 25 million in the years following. And finally, this is a direct quote from the CBO report. On balance, the CBO estimates that the ACA will boost overall demand for goods and services over the next few years. The net increase in demand for goods and services will in turn boost the demand for labor in the next few years. Ultimately, that's saying the ACA will increase jobs, not cut them. So, in summary, the CBO report did not say that the ACA was causing layoffs. It did say that it's giving workers more flexibility, it's reducing the deficit, it's giving people health care, it's reducing health insurance costs, and overall, it will increase employment. And that's the ACA, and that was the CBO report about.